Hey, it's Rich, Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? There's going to be a few more videos coming out. I'm going to try to spread them out because these are more long-term things, and hopefully none of it happens and I can just delete them out. Okay, phew, now that happened. But it's getting pretty crazy out there. So being prepared, having food stocks, things of this nature, smart move. And I do want to get that series going on new homesteaders. I'm going to basically take you from what you should be doing when you're looking for property, who you should be talking to, how to move forward from that. And while you're doing that, building yourself a income source into your homestead, different things of this nature before you even own one. Okay? Yeah. Because marketing and so forth is an important part of it. So that's kind of where we're going to go with this whole thing. Yeah. Craziness. Yeah, I just heard on the news today where I guess it had become a point of topic of destroying religious monuments now. And of course, they got to get rid of that white Jesus. I always thought he was Jewish. But anyway, yeah, and a lot of the churches, statues and so forth are very Caucasian looking, and I understand that. Okay, I really do. But that's going to get people stirred up. If you're a conservative, the polls don't look good for old Donald Trump. So he's going to need all the votes he can get. If you're not registered, get registered and get out there and vote. It could be very, very important. Because the left has swung so far left, folks, that they've went so left off the screen, they're coming back on. They're going to be the new alt-right, I swear. It's really gotten crazy. So, you don't want these people in charge of your federal government. You really don't. Their policies and what they're pushing, the violence they're pushing, the racial divisions that they're trying to push down everybody's throats is just... it's getting bad when the black community raises their hand and goes, whoa, 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 whoa. We're not part of this. No. Okay? That's sad. Especially when it comes to areas like racism, you would think, a majority would be right on it. They're like, no, most white people aren't like that. So, yeah, it's got to the point of being silly. So, enough of all that. Be prepared, okay? There is a lot of going on both sides. And I guess the simplest way to put it is most people out here in the more rural areas could care less. They can burn those cities to the ground. We don't care. Just stay in the rubble because don't come here. And they're preparing for that influx of the trouble pouring out of the cities into the more rural areas. Our state elections looks like it's going to be very, very heavily participated in. Even there's rumors that the Democrats will no longer even hold on to Nashville. So, yeah, they've ticked a lot of people off. It was like, no. When the Democrats in Nashville says, thank you, Governor, for coming in and taking care of this mess because our politicians didn't. You got folks that are going to change parties, I think. They're kind of upset with it. So we're going to see a lot of that kind of turmoil. But they're saying Donald Trump is so far down in the polls, no way he's going to get elected again. Of course, they said that back in 2016. Good voter turnout is what's going to be required for the conservatives to get him back into office. And man, do we need him back in office. And we only need to kick Nancy Pelosi's tush out of the House. Because she says if they lost the House again, she'd resign. Let's test that. Okay? Because that woman's nuts. She is absolutely nuts. California and stuff, seriously, they keep losing people the way they're losing them. They're going to have a problem holding on to all their electoral votes and all their House seats and so forth. They really are. They've had some pretty massive drops in population, so needless to say, the Democrats are really looking for the illegal aliens to bail them out here. That sort of stuff, I'm all for immigration. I really am. Okay? do it the right way. And I think if they were to catch an illegal alien voting in our elections, they ought to put them in prison for the rest of their lives. Lock them away. Throw their families out of the country, throw them in a prison, and say, "Now we're done with that." Because that's almost like a invasion by vote, right? And it needs to be dealt with harshly and swiftly. So these are some of the issues that I still see hanging out there. If this tries to spread out into the more rural zones, then that's when the trouble's going to start. Okay, that's when it's liable to open up into a regular revolt. They're going to get their revolution, and we're going to try to put it out. Okay, yeah, and may the better team win. So, and for what? I think most Americans are going to have to get to the point, and most Democrats are going to understand. Nothing personal. If you're a moderate Democrat, I understand. Your party ran off and left you. Okay? But now the Democrat Party is Marxist communists. They want to overthrow the government, blah, 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 blah. Don't be a part of that. Seriously, don't be a part of it. Because you don't want to be counted in their numbers if it comes to blows and they lose. All right? Because at that point, nobody's going to listen to your reasons of, well, I was always a Democrat and I was moderate. Yeah, well, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. If they find you with a voter ID has a D on it, you'll answer to them. Because they're going to squelch this thing. It's coming to that. So let's try to be cool. Anyway, good Lord, I wandered off onto it again. Too much news, man. Too much looking at this stuff. Back to what I wanted to talk about. I'm really looking to start looking at ways for homesteaders to hit the ground running and make money. Okay? Just truly am. To where they're not struggling. And to where they've got the income coming in to do the things that they're going to need to do. Because it's going to become very important for them to be able to hit the ground running and be able to first feed their family, then make the money to live a decent life. Usually it takes a lot of years. We're going to see if we can shorten that up some. That's number one. That was the main topic that I wandered off into the left field with. Next thing, I don't know why yet, and I'm looking into it, but I'm not too sure why yet, that the commodities market's going a little nuts. And this is in grains, beef, pork, you name it. Okay, this is pretty much all the futures have went a little crazy. They're really running up fairly high. Neither somebody at that Chicago exchange knows something the rest of us doesn't know, or they're just nuts, period. And that's happened before too. Although overall, prices for everything except for what they call fat cattle, fully developed cattle off of the feedlots, are all up in prices and staying that way. Matter of fact, the best priced animals out there right now, if you're in a cow-calf operation and have been grass feeding your calves, some of the best prices out there right now is for grass-fed yearlings. They're selling high, and that way they bring them in and finish them off, and boom, there you go. So that's a big mover right now. The processors are still battling with the ranchers and the producers. That's not changed. There still looks like some price gouging going on out there. But the switch in the market is going to help out a lot. So that's the reason you need to get out here too. You can buy fresh meat, and get it direct from the producer, save yourself some money, blah, blah, blah. save yourself some money. That's the big one. Okay. Uh, the old adage of a penny saved is a penny earned. If you don't have to spend $100 a month in meat, that's $100 a month you got in your pocket. That's true income. So let's try to, let's try to keep that in mind. Yeah. So homesteaders right now, I take a little lower profile because if this does break loose, you're going to be a target if you're too well known out there. Yeah, realistically. I mean, not being well known, that's not the problem. I'd limit my tours, okay? I wouldn't want everybody and their uncle knowing everything I got. I've said that before, as we head into more what could be troubled times. We might want to kind of go, oh, let's hold off a bit. You know what I'm saying? So, something to think about. Kind of watch what you're saying. I know it's hard to educate people in how to grow crops if you're not showing you're growing crops, right? I understand that. I really do. You just might want to try to just show portions. You don't want to show that 20-acre field of, squash or tomatoes or whatever you got going on out there. Okay, so let's use our heads a little bit, because if this flies apart, there are going to be a lot of hungry people and desperate. Okay, so you're gonna be putting your family at risk. So be careful. I have been talking to some more people along those lines, and the government's got a full plate. They really are. And they really think that the people can hammer this one out amongst themselves, because they're not going to do anything like commit troops into a fight, because they got red China breathing down their necks and things of this nature they're going to have to deal with. So they're not going to weaken that military. I do appreciate that they're trying to get us out of these wars that we've been in for decades. It's crazy. We should not be building nations. We have a nation of our own we need to build. Okay, let's use the money for that. Bring troops home. Worry about the defense of this nation, not fixing up everybody else's. Okay, maybe they could learn a valuable lesson. If you mess with us, we're going to bomb you into the Stone Age and leave you there. Just walk away. And that's the way it should be. That way, if nothing else, we don't have to worry about you for the next 25 years while you're rebuilding your culture. Sorry, but that's the cost you pay. I do that stuff. But, so homesteaders are going to play an important role. You may be having to help out your neighbors, and you may have to be helping out people who are working in factories and, living in a suburban area of a rural town or something. Be prepared to do that, because it's going to be everybody cooperating and working together that gets it done and gets it over with quickly. But I know a lot of folks are like, we're not going to get into this. Even the government won't make that call now. They're actually stepping back, going, "Whoa, we got a problem here." I today, actually Friday, had put out a letter to Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm asking for him to have the DOJ look into the mayor of Seattle. Personal thing, I lived out in Seattle for a lot of years. That I'm not a lawyer, but kind of looks like the woman could be held as an accessory to those crimes because of her negligence in office. And if so, they should do that. All kidding aside. Put her in jail. It might get some of these politicians to remember that they're supposed to be servants and not dictators, and that they don't have the ultimate power. That the people are still number one, and you're to be looking out for their welfare. That's why you're there. seem to have lost track of that in some of these cities, like, I don't know, New York and Portland and Seattle and San Francisco. And of course, San Francisco, they've kept a little bit under control, I guess, because they live and die by tourism. You would think you'd want to kind of keep your city clean and keep people wanting to visit it, but not always. But anyway, it really does. Us people who have been in this for years need to really start getting ready to give advice to and help these people who are going to be coming out not having a clue and desperate. Okay, we could be heading for that. Good people, okay, but it's sad. I didn't think I'd be around to see our country get in this shape. I really didn't. I got a video that'll be going up this week. It's already cut and it's hanging out on YouTube right now. Because there's been a lot of talk about these face masks and so forth. And nobody seems to give you a straight answer, you know? About the only thing they do agree on is it helps protect you from somebody that has the flus, or even they found out for a common cold it doesn't work at all, period. But that these things should help protect your face a little bit from somebody sneezing on you and things of this nature. So I'm not ready to say that they're totally worthless. But as you're wearing these things and you're breathing, there's a little moisture forms up in the mask, and it causes the fibers to separate a little bit. And I had, in this video that I had done, I had a doctor who pretty much said it best. He says, a little like trying to use a chain link fence to keep out mosquitoes is what those masks turn out to be. It's like, well, that's good. You might as well put a little chain link fence across your face, because the virus itself is so small that it passes right through them without a problem. Okay, so that's where you're getting all this back and forth of yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. My attitude is it doesn't hurt. Okay, I mean, they did report that don't be out exercising in the things. If you're going for a run, or you're working out in the gym hard, things of this nature, those masks can cause your oxygen level in your blood to drop dramatically, even down to dangerous levels. So be cautious, okay? Don't get winded if you're wearing a mask. All right? Rich's health tip of the day. You will get a kick out of this video. It'll probably go up Wednesday. But a lot of what I've been saying with the numbers, now even other organizations beginning to look at the CDC going, what are y'all doing? All kidding aside. And at first I thought, could this be our president trying to hide this stuff? The only problem is now the administration's looking at the CDC going, what are you all doing? So we may have a little holdover issue going on at the CDC. And they are trying to use this COVID-19 to drive Trump out of office. It is ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. But one of the things that are in the video and that you really want to pay attention to is they're talking about what is a COVID-19 case in a hospital anymore. And if you test positive or you test negative for having the antibodies, okay, unless you hit the negative part for either one of them, and you have to go in for elective surgery into a hospital, you are then listed as a COVID-19 patient. Whether you've had it or whether you have it, you're still going in as a patient, as a COVID-19. Because there's a big pool of government money that these hospitals are getting to tack into for each and every patient they have. Yeah. Once again, government puts this pile of money out there, good intentions, that is being misused, and it's messing with the numbers, all this kind of stuff. That's how we in this County was showing 2 deaths from the virus. And then when the CDC had to get the actual test results for these 2 claimed deaths, they said no. They found out that one, when they were testing here in town, they didn't test positive. So, yeah, be cautious of taking all these numbers at heart. And indeed, you're going to see a spike in this stuff. We've had these riots. We've had people out celebrating the holidays. It's expected, and it's not taxing the capacity of the hospitals. Their treatments are getting better. So this is more like a mild flu case, folks. Relax. Okay? It is not the pandemic that they were looking for. I mean, now they were looking at 2.5 million cases. We haven't hit 1 million yet. So what are we talking here? So all this lockdown nonsense, all that is not necessary. And now in these blue states, they're wanting to go back to it. Because their goal is to make sure that the economy's in the poorest condition they can possibly get it into heading into November. That's it. That's the goal. And that as much fear can be spread out there as possible. It was funny, I'd watched the other day a press conference at the White House, and they were talking about the virus. And I listened very closely to what the White House had to say about it. Today, when I was watching the news, I heard what was said by the White House totally twisted around. I mean, it looked like a corkscrew twisted around kind of thing. There was no truth left in what was being said as far as opening schools. Tried to make it sound like the White House was saying, oh, science doesn't know what they're talking about. And that was never said. Okay? Never said. So these people have gotten so bad with this that now they can't even misquote and get their point across. Now they have to come out and blatantly lie. This is no longer just fake news. Well, it is. It's totally made up in most of their heads. So be advised, be very cautious. If you hear this stuff of what the White House says about it, they have a press briefing every day. Go listen, okay? If I was the White House, I'd stop the press briefings altogether, send them a form very explicitly laying out every topic you wanted to tell the American public about, and stop it there. And at least you got a paper backup. And it's gotten ridiculous. This country's gone crazy. And people believe it. You know, they watch ABC and NBC and ZBS and MSNBC and CNN and Fox even. I don't watch Fox, so I can't say that they're lying or not. But why do I need a conservative bent on something? I'm pretty much conservative. That's the way I look at most things that come out of the White House, is from that viewpoint. So I don't need Fox News telling me what I'm thinking. It's just my idea. And I'm not so insecure that I got to have this constant reinforcement that I'm right. Not necessary. See what I'm saying? So, yeah. Just watch what you're hearing on the news. They're getting really bad with it. And like I said, I take more of a objective view of news. And as I'm doing that, it's like, wow. I mean, you're down to just flat lying. I mean, there's just no truth in that whole thing. Other than she did use the words common and science. Or advice from science. She did use those words. But they twisted to say that she didn't believe, the White House doesn't believe in the science. That's not what they said at all. Matter of fact, it's not what the scientists said at all about reopening the schools. Most of them think it is very necessary to get those children back in school. You're not going to be able to open this economy up without that. One. Two, I guess child abuse and the depression and so forth that people are going through right now, it's a good thing to get them kids back into a learning environment and a socialization environment. The online schooling they've been doing, they've had these kids where you might start off with 15 kids in the online class, and by the time you're halfway through it, you're down to 2 kids. And you're doing good if you got those 2 kids by the time you get to the end of it all. So what are these children learning? You know, we already got about you look at these kids coming out of college, they're dumb as a box of rocks. Have no common sense. You know, so imagine these kids, they're even getting pushed back farther. I tell you, if a revolutionary thing starts off in this country and it comes to blows, those college professors better be on their knees praying for the communists to win. Because if they don't, those Ivy League schools and stuff need to be burned to the ground. And these communist professors that think communism's so neat, put on a boat to Red China. And then if Red China doesn't want them in their country, let them sink the boat. You know? Done. And then we as Americans need to really get on top of what's being taught to your children in school. Okay? Really get on top. Okay? You don't teach my kid anything but reading, writing, and arithmetic. Short of that, shut up. I'll take care of the moral responsibilities of those kids. I'll take care of making sure that they have common sense. I'll make sure of those things that the parents are supposed to give the children. You butt out. Of course, I did a lot of that whenever I had kids in school. I mean, I was school's worst nightmare. I've gotten teachers, principals, and one school superintendent canned. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I said, okay, school board, can him or I sue you until I get tired. Usually they'd can him because they'd be looking at the facts going, okay. Stand up, parents. Start fighting back. It's your children, and they want to turn them into little communists. There you go. And if that's not what you want for your children, one, my recommendation would be homeschool. Okay, you can any way to do it, do it. Anyway, this has gone long. I got a lot of it to edit out because I went too much off into the political stuff. But you guys have a super duper week. Gonna try to get more as stuff hits the really hits the fan. I'll keep you abreast of it. But I have got to get back to what I do. I really do. But yet I feel obligated when I have like subscribers that I know have to drive into towns like Portland and Seattle and things of this nature. I get worried about them, because these are turning into death traps. So keep your head on a swivel out there, and y'all need to stay safe. Understand that these protesters are not just protesters anymore. They're packing guns, and they're shooting people. I mean, last week they killed, or I don't know how many they killed, but they shot about 25 people. Yeah. And they've killed a fair amount. Children even, they don't care. They don't care. Which tells you something about the content of their character, doesn't it? Alrighty, anyway, I love you guys and I appreciate you. You have a super duper day and a great week.